Next Monday. So remember when I was telling you about the principle of dominance, and then very, very quietly I would say, except sometimes. These are those sometimes. So as science is not perfect, right? Genetics tells you that when you have a dominant trait and a recessive trait, or the organism has heterozygous, right, alleles, the dominant trait always shows because it masks the recessive, okay? Except when you have one of these situations. The first one is called incomplete dominance. And look at this Punnett square. What do you see? A mix. So basically what happens is the organism's alleles don't mask each other. You've got a purebred cross here, and all the offspring are heterozygous. But technically, if I gave you capital R, little r, and I didn't tell you incomplete dominance, what color should this flower be? Red, right? All of these should be red because the dominant allele masks the recessive. But in incomplete dominant, they mix together and they form a blend of each gene. Yes. Our next special case is called codominance. What's happening here? I'm not even giving you alleles, I'm just giving you pictures. Both are seen. So instead of a mix happening, you actually get a combination, like white and black gives you black and white, or this organism here, beaver and a duck, gives you a duck beaver. A platypus. And you see the red fish and the blue fish gives you a red and blue fish, okay? So both traits are visible, but this is always, like in this case, this would be a heterozygous. All the offspring would be heterozygous here, here, and this fish would be heterozygous, okay? So make sure you add that to your notes. In this case, well, you see it here, offspring is heterozygous. Or you have to be heterozygous for this to happen. And same with the other one. These really have nothing to do with heterozygous offspring. They're just about like different situations that occur that give you a variety of traits. Number one, you've got multiple alleles. Normally 2 alleles, right, represent a trait. When you got multiple alleles, it's more than 2 alleles are responsible for a trait. And a perfect example is blood type. You've got A, B, and O. So you can be, you know, AA, AO, BB, BO, AB. There's a more of a chance of variety of traits, or OO, okay? We'll talk more about blood type later, but that's what multiple alleles is. The last one is called polygenic traits, which is also called epistasis, and you have to know both of these words because they're both going to be on the test. Consider them vocab, right? They mean the same thing. What do you think it means? Polygenic traits. More than one what? Polygenic. More than one gene is responsible for a trait. So several genes interact and they represent a trait. And again, this is where your questions are always popping up. Here's an example right here of your skin color and how many alleles are responsible for your skin color. The reason you see variation is here would be an organism with all recessive alleles. So they would have the lightest possible skin. You move over here, and here's an organism with all dominant alleles. So they have more of the darker skin. But in between, you've got all these possibilities. All recessive except 1, all recessive except 2. Does that make sense? So that's where you get all of this different shading. Same with eyes. Some of this slide is like review, okay? What's a female's genotype? XX. And a male? Okay. What are traits determined by? Which are alleles are a representation of? Genes. Good. Where are genes located? Good. Who knows how many chromosomes humans have? 23 pairs. Good. So we have 23 pairs, which makes how many chromosomes? 46. Pair 1 through 22 are what we call autosomal chromosomes. Anybody know what that means? Everything but what? Look at pair number 23. What's there? Right here. Pair number 23, right here. What's there? What kind? X and Y represent what? Gender. So sex chromosomes, it says it right there, pair 23. So pair 1 through 22 is autosomal, what we call like body. Remember like gamete cells versus autosomal? Same thing, okay? So all these traits carry genes, or I'm sorry, all these chromosomes carry genes, and these would be your sex-linked genes found on the sex chromosomes.